Hi, I'm Steph and I play TJ Squeakerson in the Dragonborn Industries Starfinder Actual play, Orion's Hope. And this is the second of our recaps covering episodes 11 to 18, Heart of Darkness, Part 1. The crew find themselves returning to Absalom Station with the use of their new starship, the Zephyr Horizon. However, immediately after entering within the infosphere of Absalom Station, breaking news flashes up on the ship's digital screens. Dragonborn Industries has already downloaded and edited footage that TJ has been filming throughout their adventure on Avil. In this elaborate and very doctored breaking news, the crew are presented as heroes of Dynatech's making, with poster boy Calyx at the helm. Through this announcement, however, Elijah Raslurin, the head of marketing, reveals their newest business product, the Hostoki. Described as bioengineered tools with very low sense of self-awareness, the Hostoki is marketed as low-cost and efficient cheap workforce rather than a protected race of the Pact Worlds, and describes them as low-sentient AI. Upon landing, the crew are subjected to an immediate interview by reporters. Hovering camera drones and a large audience is waiting and hanging on their every word. Eventually, they are free to go as the reporters finish their questions and are also alerted by Dynatech Industries to report back to the Dynatech Tower with their findings and to collect any rewards/compensation for their efforts. Entering the Dynatech lobby, the crew see a drow and a Vesk talking to the new Lashunta receptionist who is clearly flirting with them. They receive a keycard to the elevator and find their way up to the security floor 220 to speak to the head of security and defence, Rena Constantine, a dragon-blooded human, and Zano, a Shirin that sent them off on the start of their very first adventure. Questions are asked of the crew as to why Cassie Cato infiltrated the company and outed themselves as a traitor. Cato's compad is handed over, as well as information on perhaps the whereabouts of Cato's origins, with a depiction of the Dominion of Black that she wore on a pauldron. Most of the crew are rewarded quite handsomely for their efforts on Avil, as well as defending the Dynatech building, except for TJ, who's told that as he is property of Dynatech, he has no need of payment. Rena shows the crew the cred stick that is disguised as a digital keycard that they discovered during the attempted breach of the building when they were given their first mission, and tells them that it allows access to floor 184. She tells them of there being another Guardian orb located on this floor, as well as many other artifacts. This floor, however, has been locked off completely from outside sources due to a rogue AI that attempted to take control of the floor and the rest of the tower. It is revealed that Dynatech believes that the hired guns who attempted to attack Dynatech were trying to make their way to floor 184, which could have had catastrophic consequences. More credits are offered to the crew in exchange for helping Dynatech by clearing out this floor, but have been warned that it is dangerous and will take the company some time to secure and prepare the area. Rena speaks of an individual who they think coordinated the attack and is still at large, who they believe is using a local bar called The Node, where many bounty hunters and mercenaries can be found. The crew are sent on their way to dispose of this individual. After a brief shopping interlude, they eventually make their way to the Node to find out more. Kaz Umbra visits a friend, Rokai, to ask about how to approach the bar, and says that as he has a membership there, he is willing to put in a call to get the group in. The hunt begins, and they find themselves inside the Node looking for mercenaries who potentially have been hired by the mysterious G33. Attempting to play it sneaky, the crew spot a hidden doorway and manage to follow two cloaked mercenaries into a system of tunnels and back alleys, giving chase before coming face to face with the armed mercs and an SRO. They manage to defuse the tension and claim to be wronged employees of Dynatech looking for revenge, a tale that hits close to home for one of the mercenaries, Roose Pitt. They are taken through a hidden passage leading to an abandoned computer repair shop where they meet G33, a Yosoki who has been heavily and very roughly augmented. He tells them of gaps in his memory, but knows, having woken up outside of Dynatech Tower, that they are responsible for his current state, and that the entity on floor 184 is too great of a threat and must be stopped. The crew decide to truly side with G33, but whilst trying to figure out how to proceed, are set upon by the drow and Vest they saw earlier at Dynatech, hired killers sent by Acquisitions, the department responsible for collecting debts from augmentations. After successfully dispatching the Vesk and drow hitmen, the crew managed to translocate G33's consciousness into a personnel drone before making him their ship AI, which allows them to provide the body of G33 as proof of the job complete. They return to Dynatech to provide the proof and collect their credits. Most of them collect their credits. Calyx and Skelkin head to the Explorations Department of Dynatech, where they investigate Cassie Cato's desk and discover a false bottom drawer containing a blank elevator keycard and a datapad. Meanwhile, TJ and Kaz visit marketing to ask Elijah Aslurin for some desk leave for TJ. They are met by a particularly large Hostoki named Jenkins, TJ's neighbour and longtime nemesis, who has recently become the head of marketing's PA. After denying TJ's request for leave and insisting that he must be a faulty unit, they are ushered out, and TJ hears through his new ring of whispers that the board has been contacted in regards to his sentience, and Jenkins will be tasked to follow him. In exchange for the crew's help, G33 agreed to undertake some hacking and research for the crew, and learns that there have been some interesting financial transactions from Dynatech to Kaz's home planet of Keydell, as well as a distressing image of what appears to be a Decimar battery farm, which sends Calyx into some distress. The crew head to the free markets and keep an eye out for TJ as he returns to his home in one of the structural pillars of Absalom, hoping to have dinner with Jenkins to get him on side and to see his wife, Linda. Upon entering the apartment block, he is met with chattering and intrigue as one of the Hostoki, Bam Bam, has exploded all over the walls and is being tidied into a protein recycler. A catch-up with Linda and with Jenkins a no-show proves to TJ that he is more alone in his sentence than he'd hoped, and asks for a divorce, or more correctly, a dissolving of the cohabitation contract. He returns to the crew just as Skelkan receives word from Deris Day to meet him at the node. The crew oblige, and there they meet Chiskis and Historia 7, high-ranking Starfinder officials who ask them to investigate Dynatech, as well as anything they might be doing to endanger the Pact Worlds, as the first Seeker elections are coming up, and Zano, a Dynatech employee and Starfinder, is running, which, were she successful, would place the corporation into a position of vast and almost unchecked power and resources. They accept and divulge as much information as they have already gathered, deciding that the unsettling image of Decimar being farmed for their silk is the best lead they currently have. Still trying to find a way to travel with the crew without being marked as stolen property, TJ takes Kaz and Calyx to HR in Dynatech to try and get out of going to work. Here they discover that not only have the Hostoki been fed on a diet mostly comprised of their deceased brethren, but TJ has been marked for termination. In a last-ditch attempt for his freedom, TJ uses the keycard they found in Cato's desk to access the off-limit floors of research and development to talk to Dr. Timothy Amadeus and Dr. Joanne Fields, his creators, where he finds the horrors of Hostoki experimentation and quickly realises that his makers are not going to let him get out of this alive. He flees, making it to the elevator just in time, catching Calyx and Kaz as they try to escape the building that is going into lockdown. They narrowly make it out, with Kaz almost getting squished, and hurriedly prepare the Zephyr Horizon for travel to Calyx's home planet of Kashoria. Skelkan makes a last check and discovers a tracker on the ship, most likely planted by Jenkins, and disposes of it as the crew take off and enter the drift once more. This time, as Starfinders.